Good evening, everybody. This is your buddy Big Money for Eternity, and I am finally back with another video as promised. It's going to be a little bit later than usual, but we'll get through it. Tonight's video, I would like to take a little bit more of a serious turn with it, because it deals with a subject that I'm very passionate about. It's a subject that's not the best subject, but it's one that needs to be addressed in our country, and a subject that I was once a victim of myself, and that I know somebody who was a victim of it. And rather than spoil it for you before I even get into the story, I'm going to tell you what happened. Back in high school, about I think it was 1993. It was toward the end of the year, and we had just gotten our yearbooks, and I was going around getting people to sign my yearbook, because that's just, I love getting yearbooks every year. And I was one of those students who, even if I didn't know you, if I asked you to sign my yearbook, I wanted you to sign it. So I'd go up to people I didn't even know, ask them to sign it, they'd sign it, and go on. Well, I came up to this one guy. He was in the 9th grade. I was in 11th. And didn't know each other, but again, I didn't care. I just, if I thought you were cool, you were going to sign my yearbook. So I went up to him, asked him if he would sign it. He graciously took it. He signed it, gave it back to me, and then we started to talk a little bit. Well, not long after that, we actually became friends, and he invited me to become part of his crew to sit at the lunch table, because we both had the same lunch shift. So I said, okay, that's cool, So I went and started sitting with him and his two other friends that were there. So when we all sat together, it was me, him, my friend's name is Mike also, so this vlog might get confusing. So it was me, my friend Mike, a kid whose name I can't remember sitting over here, and then on this side there was a kid named Randy. Well, after the first few days were fine, And then one weekend, Mike invited me to his house to spend the night, so we could hang out, watch movies, play video games, watch wrestling videos, whatever. And so that night I went. That night I went to his house. So I went there. We had a great time. We watched movies, played video games. I stayed there till Saturday evening, and then I went home. I said, I'll see you in school on Monday. Well, that Monday came around, and went to school just like usual. It was a day like any other. And I think it was like I had my first 4 classes, and then had my lunch period, and Mike was in my same lunch, so we sat together. So that day went fine. And then the next day, which was, of course, Tuesday, because that's what comes after Monday. That Tuesday, I went and we got together for lunch again. And we were sitting there, and then Mike and I also found out that we both love professional wrestling. We're all over it. And he even started to talk to me about him having a dream to become a professional wrestler. So, being the friend that I wanted to be to him, I was encouraging. I was telling him, if that's what you want to do, you go for it, and you do you. You be what you want to be. Well, I don't know. Well, remember, it was me, my friend Mike, this kid over here who I don't remember the name of, and there's a kid over here named Randy. Well, out of nowhere, I don't know what possessed this kid to say what he said, but no sooner did Mike tell me about, what he was going to do when he became a wrestler. He had his name chosen, his finisher chosen, the whole 9 yards. And then Mike no sooner tells me all that than Mr. Randy over here, he just out of nowhere belts out a fat joke. Now, given the nature of the fat joke, I'm not going to repeat it because that's how bad it was. And also, I don't know what possessed me, what got into me, but since Mr. whatever his name was over here wasn't going to say anything, I spoke up. And I told Randy, I said, Randy, I said, I don't know who you think you are, but I said, as long as I'm sitting at this table, I said, you're not going to talk to him like that. And I said, you better not ever do that again. I said, do I make myself clear? And guys, Randy looked at me with a fear so intense that he actually picked his books up off the table, went to another table, and sat at that table for the rest of the year. And I made sure that while he was sitting at that other table, that I shot him a look every once in a while, letting him know that I wasn't playing. Now, after the really, really bad fat joke, and I'll tell you, this fat joke was just not cool at all. I looked over at Mike, and guys, as I told you, as a person who has been bullied myself, I can spot the look of sadness just a mile away. And he just looked like he was just done. I mean, it was just like the life just came out of him. And when the lunch bell rang to go to our next class, I walked with him. I went with him up the hallway and I said, are you going to be alright? And he he really didn't say anything. I said, well, listen, dude. I said, if you need anything, I said, I don't care when it is. I said, if you need anything, you need to talk, I said, I got your back. And he kind of just muttered something and he walked off. Well, then that night after I got home from school, I got home and there was an answer, or I almost got it wrong. There was a message on the answering machine on our phone, and it was Mike. So I listened to it, and he asked me that when I got home to call him. So I got on the phone, I called him, we talked, and I was glad that he called because I was going to call him anyway to make sure that he was all right. Because I mean, I looked at his face, and you could tell that the words that this other kid said, it looked like he'd been stabbed in the chest. And I just, and I cannot fathom why, when somebody gets bullied, that people won't speak up for the other person, for the person that it happens to. Because that's what needs to happen. We need more people sticking up for these people that get bullied, and we need to have more people speaking up on that person's behalf. Because that is why we have so many kids out there that are getting bullied and taking their own lives, because nobody says anything. They just let it go. The school system won't do anything. The parents don't do anything. And that's why kids are committing suicide. That's why kids are doing this thing, acting out, doing the things they're doing. If parents would just talk to their kids, and if the schools would just do what they're supposed to be doing to help these kids out, maybe the suicide rate wouldn't be as high as it is. But I made sure that when my friend Mike was bullied, I made sure that I wasn't going to let him do anything to hurt himself or somebody else. Because at the time, he had his whole future ahead of him. And I didn't want to see it ruined. So that's why I stuck up for him. And I'll tell you something else. If I had it to do all over again, you're darn right I'd do it again. Because what that kid said to Mike, that's uncalled for, and that is something that I absolutely do not tolerate. And I'll tell you, if I see it, I speak up. I don't let people get away with that kind of stuff, because that's unnecessary. And it just makes me wonder what possessed this kid to say what he said. Because Mike did not do anything to this guy. He was just telling me what he wanted to do about being a professional wrestler. That's all he was telling me. And this other kid had to interject himself because he thought it was funny. That's the thing that really just, even as I'm talking about it, I'm getting mad, because he thought it was funny to spit out a fat joke and make my friend feel worse than he had already felt before. And it's just, it really just, it got to me. And if there's one thing that I can tell people, is that if you bully somebody that I care about, or you say something nasty to somebody I care about, oh, you're going to get on my bad side. And you don't want to be on my bad side. Because that's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to get on my bad side. And unfortunately for this kid, that's what he did. Because the things that he said to my best friend, something you don't do. It's just something you do not do. And I don't care who he thought he was. And I know that he wasn't my son, but you're not going to do that around me. And if you want to say something to somebody like that, you better hope I'm not within earshot to hear it, because if I am, you're going to get it. And that's what happened to this kid that day. Because he bullied somebody that is a very good friend to me, and I was not going to let it go. Alright guys, I've talked a little bit too long here, so I'm going to stop it here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to my channel, there's that little red button down below. You guys have a great day, end of the day, and I will see you all on Tuesday with a new video, because I don't upload on Mondays. So I will see you on Tuesday with a new video. Have a great night.